A very good morning to one and all. Myself, Dr. Vijay Nirmala. Today, I am going to discuss about the firewalls and PKI. So, these two are the last topics for us in the second unit that we used to discuss. These two are the e-commerce security tools and the last tools, firewalls and PKI. PKI in the sense public key infrastructure, and that too we used to discuss in today's session. Now let us see what is firewall. Firewall is a security control that overcome the various threats. So this is also one important tool for this. So this firewall can can either be a hardware or it can be in the form of a software also. So that allows only the selected users. That is, it depends upon some based on some particular features. This firewall, what it does is it used to select only few users to get access to the secured network or a site, whatever it may be. So this can be in the form of the hardware or this firewall can be in the form of software also. So these users are generally external to the system. These are generally external to the system and they can gain access on some selected criteria. They can use to access on they can use to gain access only on some selected criteria based on their domain name, username, and password combination of internet IP address. Combination of internet IP address. For example, on the other hand, the users internal to the firewall, they generally will be having a full access. I just tell an example for this firewall. There is a vendor and the vendor may permit only those companies to visit their website that they are buying its products since the long time. Since the long time. So, if they are the companies used to buy the products from the long time, they will be allowed to access with their specific domain name. Their specific domain name. So the domain names can be allowed to access with the help of firewall. So it is not that each and every any customer can visit the site or the website. Only the specific people has to can access the website with the help of domain name or username or some combinations of passwords with IP address. For example, if you want to visit in depth of your college website, you need to access with the student login that with your register number or some other thing what they will be given to you. Only with that you can access your college website. Other than that, you can't access your the others. The outers can't access the website. So that is called as firewall, and this can be in the form of hardware as well as in software. So that is called as firewall. Okay, and in this firewall, it acts as a barrier. This firewall will be acting as a barrier between the company network and the external internet so it means that this firewall will be acting as a barrier between trusted source and untrusted source. Trusted and untrusted source. So the firewall will try to protect the company network from external network threats. So what is the benefit of this is this tries to protect our company network from other external network sources. There will be various network sources, right? So through these, our computer will be our network, our authorization, our restricted computer access only will be done from the unauthorized internet hosts. Okay, unauthorized internet hosts. It means that it acts as a gateway. It acts as a gateway point where the internet network has to cross only with the help of this firewall. That is, it acts as a mediator and it used to check that firewall regarding it acts as an internal gateway for protection of hosts or subnets. Hosts or subnets. So, whatever the things that it may be, for example, uh, we have a computer network and we are accessing everything. And my company has introduced the firewall, and there will be lakhs of networks, and also we call unknown members, also hackers, let it be hackers. So these hackers, when they try to access that website, first they used to visit the firewall, and in the firewall it used to check whether these networks are secured or not. Other than this firewall, what it does is it moves to the internet, and in the internet it verifies. The internet automatically verifies whether it is a secured network or not. If it is a secure network, the firewall will allow. If it is not, it tells the firewall to stop that secured network. Stop that secured network. So that is called as a firewall. That is called as a firewall. So not only that, this firewall also implements an access policy that which ensures that all the connections will pass through it from examination and audit also. So for example, to verify, if you want to verify or for any audit purpose also, we can access this firewall policy. And this firewall is usually present to protect the internal network. Okay? So that is from the unauthorized access from the external network. This prevents us. This acts as a security guard. We go that we in the apartments we used to have a security guard. What he does, he used to protect the members and he doesn't allow others to come into the house or through the apartments. Right? In the same way, this firewall also acts as uh, a security guard to protect the internal network. Is meant for to protecting the internal network, and whether if the unauthorized secured networks has been accessed, it stops it. This firewall stops it. Okay, so this is about firewalls, and in this firewalls we have many types. So some of them are five. We have five different types of firewalls. One is packet filtered firewall, application level firewall, screened host firewall, stateful inspection firewall, and circuit level firewall. So these are the five types of firewalls that we have. Now let us see in detail about these firewalls. One is packet filtered firewall. So this is considered to be the first generation firewall. So packet filtered firewall is called as the first generation firewall, and with this firewall works at the network or the transport layer. Works at the network or the transport layer. Okay. That is, uh, there will be some routers, for example. I tell you some example. So there are some computers which are having LAN, that is local area network, and all these LANs will be having a nodes with the help of a router, and from router to the internet, right? And from router to the internet. And here, when you are using this packet filtering firewall, routers not only they used to examine each packet entering or leaving the internet, but this router also will decide where to send them, so that it reaches the intended recipient. It uses to reach the intended recipient, and also decides whether they should be delivered or not. Whether they should be delivered or not. That also will be seen. So this router helps to regulate the type of direction of the traffic that is being permitted. And for example, in the lands we will be using network, and if this everything will be gone with the help of router, right? So this router not only sends the message, but it also decides what is the for whom we need to deliver it, for whom we need to deliver it. That also will be seen. Okay, so when the routers are being used for screening the packets and deciding as to whether they should be allowed in or not, okay, that is called as filtering routers or screening routers. That is the packets, the screening packets, the router will decide whether the screening packet should be allowed in or allowed out. So this firewall is called as filtering routers or also called as screening routers, packet filtering firewalls. Okay, and the next one is application level firewall. So this application level firewall are used as network address translators. These are used as network address translators. Here what you do is when the traffic goes in at one end and out of the other, the post passage through an application which masks the origin of the initiating connection. It means that this firewall provides a detailed audit report. This used to provide a detailed audit report and used to enforce the conservative security models which are compared to the network level firewalls. Which are compared to the network level firewalls. Okay, so this application level firewall, it used to take into consideration that the user requirement perspectives as well as the application responses. So not only one, it used to consider two things. One is user requirement perspective and the other one is application responses. So based on these, it tried to enforce the exact application conduct. Okay, and it used to block the malicious action. Malicious, you know that the viruses. It used to stop the viruses, and it helps the business in securing them with having a responsive information system. Having a responsive information system. So the system can be protected through viruses or through spams by having this application level firewall. And this is also be used for blocking the unwanted websites also. Unwanted websites also. Okay, so from sender to the receiver, it will be moved through application level and it checks whether the websites are having any malicious action. So if any malicious actions are there, it immediately blocks those viruses. Okay, so the next one is screened host firewall. Screened host firewall. So this screened firewall has to compromise for its core elements. So this used to compromise for its core elements and which are achieved at the cost of some security. So this will be achieved with the cost of some security. It means that this is an appropriate. This is appropriate for sites. It is mainly appropriate for this is mainly appropriate for the sites as well as appropriate for the sites as well as it is more flexible when you compared with application gateway firewall. So when you compare with application level firewall, this is very very comfortable. This will be very comfortable. Okay. So the concept here, the concept of screen host firewall consists of uh, external networks and internal networks. The combination of these two will be have screen host networks. So that is from, for example, an user is using some, there is some internal network, and this will be passed through a routers via internet. So in this, you will be having a packet filtered router. You will be having a packet filtered router, and after then it moves to the application gateway through the information server. Through the information server. Okay, so this screened host firewall is having a network complexity, is having a network complexity and configurations and configurations also. And these used to determine whether the single host is enough or it requires a being part of the larger security system. So there will be different protection layers, and among these different protection layers, this will come to know whether this single host is enough or it requires any part of the larger security. So that will be seen through network complexity. Okay, when the screen host firewall is comprised in two layers, the screen host firewalls are comprised in two layers. One is the network layer, and the other one is application layer. Network layer, we call it as a router. Application layer is called as the proxy services. We call it as a proxy service. And these two ensure safety. Why? Because we will be having the presence of two layers, and it makes it difficult for the intruder to make these two systems corrupt and make it. So that's what we call it as screened host firewall. In this, we will be having two types. One is two layers, network layers called as the routing, and also application layers called as services. So when you want to move with the safety, you have to move these two layers are being present, and it is very difficult for the third party that to intrude and to infiltrate these two systems and corrupt the trusted network So it is not possible to move these two layers. It is very difficult for the third party to enter with the help of these two layers. The next one is stateful inspection firewall. Stateful inspection firewall. So this firewall used to trace the state of network connections. It used to trace the state of network connections, and these travels through analyzing the Zenine packets which are being used in various kinds of connections. So stateful inspection in the sense not only in one, it will be used in several connections like TCP streams or UDP communications, etc. So in all these network connections, this stateful inspection firewalls will be traced out. So what it does is the firewall allows only the packets which match with any existing active connections, and the remaining others are rejected. So in this stateful inspection, whoever there is an active connections, with those it used to match when the new website visits. If the existing active connections were not matched immediately, it used to reject that third party. It used to reject that third party. So that is a stateful inspection firewall. Okay, the alternate name for this stateful inspection firewall is dynamic packet filtering. It is also called as dynamic packet filtering. So why we call it as a dynamic packet filtering is this is a feature of monitoring the active connections. So not only that, it used to look after what are the active connections for us and also determine whether the packet is being allowed or whether the packet is being rejected. Okay, it gives the firewall an alter name. That's why we call it as a dynamic packet filtering. What it tells me this dynamic stateful inspection firewall, or the other name is dynamic packet filtering. Right. So what it does is it tells us what are the active connections, and also it determines which packet is to be accepted and which packet is to be rejected. That also it will be determined. So that we call it as stateful inspection file. And the last one is circuit level firewall. Circuit level firewall. So this the functioning layer of circuit level gateway firewall is the session layer. It is the session layer at IP layers or TCP layers, whatever. That in this circuit level, it used to observe that the TCP handshakings are done between the packets, which used to determine whether the requested session is valid or not, whether the requested session is valid or not. So the gateway coordinate the information which is being passed to a remote computer via circuit level gateway. Via circuit level gateway. So this circuit level firewall is very cheaper and it is able to hide the networks from external entities. So what it does is this is relatively cheap and it used to hide the networks from external entities, and it helps concealing of the sensitive data which is to be protected. The sensitive data which is to be protected, that will be secured through this circuit level firewall. However, these discrete packets cannot be filtered in this circuit, but it used to hide the network from external entities. So when the external entities wants to access, it hides them. It hides them so that it cannot be accessed. So that is called as circuit level firewall. Circuit level firewall. Okay. So this is about firewall and the types of firewall. And let us see the last important tool, public key infrastructure for security. So based on X509, the public key infrastructure is a model for creation, for distribution, and revocation of certificates. So this PKI, public key infrastructure, is mainly based on X509. So this is generally used for in creation, distribution, and revocation of certificates. That is the public key infrastructure, or they call it as PKI IX also. Why? Because public key infrastructure is based on X509, right? So we call it as PKI X509. So this has been created by the Internet Engineering Task Force. This was created through Internet Engineering Task Force, and in this PKI system, it uses two keys for every user. So for every user, this PKI system uses two keys. One is a public key and the other one is a private key. We know in detail about what is public and private key, right? So I'm not going to discuss in detail about these two keys. So these two keys will be used through this PKI system. And these two keys are used in various tasks, that in encryption, when you want to encrypt the information or when you want to decrypt the information, these two keys are being used for electronically signing the electronic information and for verification of the authenticity of their owner. So This document highlights the use of PKI technology in relation to only electronic signatures. So this PKI system is mainly concerned with the electronic signatures. Okay, that is, it will be having, there will be interrelationships among the main elements of this public key infrastructure. Now let us see what are the elements involved in this model. So while we are discussing about the PKI, there are four main components which are being involved. One is end entity, the other one is public key certificate, we call it as PKC also. Certification authority, CA, already we have discussed this about certification authority. And the last one is certificate repository, we call it as CR. So these are the four main elements, four main elements which are being integrated with this PKI model. Now let us see in detail about this. What is end entity? The end entity are the users or the consumers of public key of the public key infrastructure which are being related services, which have a related services. So the end users, the end entities in the sense the users or the consumers of related PKI services. So this term is generally used in a generic sense that it refers to the subscribers. We know subscribers, right? End entities are the people, or refers to the subscribers, or we call it as network devices. Network devices also comes under end entities like servers, routers, etc. And processes, processes of any other entity also. So that which is being applied for and received a digital certificate. Received a digital certificate. So all these are used in helping the security and trust in transactions. Trust in transactions. So this end entity includes a relying party that who are the recipients of the certificates. It may be an individual or it may be an organization. Whatever the relaying party it may be, who are the recipients of the certificate, that will be known through end entity. End entity. And the next one is PKC, Public Key Certificate. So this can be considered to be an official ID card. This can be considered to be an official ID card. It means that it used to help in identifying who are the end entities, who are the end entities of their entity to the public. Okay, so it acts as an ID. Public key certificate in the sense it is an ID card. You will be having an ID card. It means that you belongs to one institution. In the same way, this acts as an identity that you are the end entity. So these do not contain any confidential information. So in this public key certificate, you do not contain any confidential information, and this can be distributed or copied or published without any restrictions. Without any restrictions. Why? Because no confidential information is there in public key certificate, right? So the other one is certification authority, CA. We already know about this. What is this? This is an issue public key certificates digitally signed. These are the certification authority issues a public key certificate which is digitally signed by it and which legally binds with the subject name to the subject public key and the certification authority public key also. Certification authority public key also. And all these are used for verification of the signatures on the certificate. Verification of the signatures on the certificates. This CA also has the responsibility of publishing the certificate revocation lists. This has a this has the responsibility of publishing the certificate revocation lists. We call it as CRL. In essence, certificate revocation list, and this would be published, which publish invalidated certificates. Invalidated certificates, so that the work may sometimes be given to a separate entity. This used to be given to a separate entity, which is referred as certificate revocation list issuer. So in that it will tell which are authoritative, which are the valid certificates, which are the invalid certificates that uses to be done through certification authority. And the last one is certificate repository. So this is a generic term which is used for identifying any method for storage and retrieval of the certificate. Okay, so this certificate repository is used to identify any method for storage of certificate, as well as a retrieval of certificate and other related information like public key certificates, which are to be issued to the end entities. The end entities. So that it means that a repository is based upon the directory that when the public uses to access the facilities through lightweight directory access protocol, lightweight directory access protocol, that is LDAP, or through FTP, file transfer protocol. At that time, this certificate repository is done, and it ensures that the retrieval of the certificate is done by the end entity. By the end entity. So these are some of the elements of PKI system. So with this, the tools have been completed for us. E-commerce security tools has been completed, and in the next session we used to discuss another topic in unit 3, and that is electronic payment system. So with this, we'll conclude this session. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Vanessa.